Judging by the few comments I saw last week about how they came to watch a video on exhaust and ended up watching some EV diagnostics, I realized that maybe a lot of you don't know what we actually do here on a daily basis. So today, I'm gonna run you through the shop on what goes on a typical daily in and out, what we work on, what we see, and we're gonna start right here with this 2017, I believe, Aston Martin Vantage in for some heavier diagnostic work. What we got going on is we've lost compression in cylinders 5, and as you can see, we've got some stuff disconnected. We've got it rolled out of the shop right now. Cylinders 5 and I believe 7. What we believe is going on, because we have leak down coming from the valve, is that these engines, they're Mercedes-based engines, the valve guides are possibly starting to rock the valves on the seat. We can hear the exhaust flowing through the intake when we pull off the piping down here to get down in there. So until we pull the motor apart, we're not 100% sure, but being that this would be very involved and we don't know what's going to go into it once we get in there, this could be a possible whole engine. We won't know till this tears down. So this is something that we're working on right here. G80 M3, and look what we got out front here. You may remember Eric here from Radiator Grill Store. I actually had a customer pop in and he was wondering what we could do about getting some mesh in here, and I said, I know a guy. So you came down here to take a look at it. What are you thinking? You think we'd have to get the bumper off in order to get this?
This G80 here, they have really big, open, wide mouths here. They really redesigned these, and they have a lot of airflow through the front, but they don't have a lot of protection. They did install a little bit of protection on some of these areas, but there is an oil cooler at the bottom that things can jump up, grab that thing, and then you lose your oil cooler. The condensers at the bottom are really open and exposed, and I think they left a little bit of design elements that we could help with getting some grill mesh there. But yeah, I think this is a bumper removal type operation.
Well, he's fine with that because he wants the solution. Regardless if your product was there or not, we were looking for some sort of mesh or grate, but I think it'd be better to just collaborate here and see if we can come up with something.
Yeah,
we also did one of our exhausts on this thing, so why don't I fire it up real quick? A little bit better. I think he still needs to do the muffler, but definitely wakes the car up and gives a nice performance bump for people looking to keep these things from getting too boy racer-esque. So, all right, come on this way. Another Aston Martin. This one came in. It was here, we were doing some service work, and what it ended up happening was what's known as crazing. Now take a look at this over here, and we've heard of this before, but I've never seen it happen instantly. If you look inside here, you can see these little cracks and these little things. While the car was here, it actually blew up, and we ended up having to cover the headlight. The car was here long enough. Now, keep in mind, this wasn't anything we did or set up. It can just happen, and unfortunately, it kind of happened while it was in our possession. So we ended up having to get a new headlight. Sucks, but we got some other service work, got the valve covers done on each side, and then had some oxygen sensors that we also replaced along the way. Let's keep going. All right, we're under this Buick Century 1955 wagon. What a wild looking car. Tim, you've got some service work. I've seen you messing around with this thing. What are you working on right now? What do you got on this thing?
Oh yeah, so as of right now, we're actually starting to just do this, we're just resealing the trans itself. It's leaking everywhere, obviously, you know, 1955. Century Wagon's been sitting for a long time. All the seals are drying up and everything, so we're just doing a whole replenish of the whole system, making sure we're sealing up everything.
Well, a beautiful car like this deserves to not leak, so I'll leave you alone, let you get back to that, but super interesting car to see inside of here. Let's continue on. All right, I got Abe here. We've got a 2021 Cayenne Turbo S. What we've got going on, we've got a water pump leak. Obviously, a lot has to come out, but we also have some other issues that we're trying to diagnose. Possibly, if you guys saw our other video on the Lamborghini Urus battery conversion, we might be doing a lithium to AGM battery here. Abe, this looks pretty involved. Why don't you just run down what you're gonna have to disconnect here real quick.
So pretty much we have to remove the bumper, remove the radiator condenser in order to have full access to the water pump. Galleys, remove the galleys and then remove the dampener to get access to the water pump. So it's just a lot to remove.
Fairly involved now. How long do you think this job is probably going to end up taking you?
at least 2 days for sure, 2-3 days.
Expensive. A lot of stuff has to come off, and there'll probably be some other stuff in between. Shop we kind of bounce around, but once we get going, sometimes parts match up. So this will be on this lip for probably about 2 days. So thanks, Abe. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, you guys might remember this car, the Lamborghini LM002. Since you guys seen it, we've done quite a bit of work here, running the controls for the fans in a way that makes sense. Thermostatic control. Did a pretty decent wire tuck. Got some things definitely tighter down in there. Had to redo some wiring as well. But now I've got Keller here, and it looks like you're working on kind of the running of the vehicle. Why don't you explain kind of some of the things you've worked on, where you're getting on it, and what you think you got left?
Did a few different things with fuel. Checked the fuel filters. When I pulled the filters out, I saw, there's a pressure regulator on top of each of them, but I pulled the fuel filters out. The spring and spacers and diaphragm, everything just basically fell apart with it. So reassembled those. So I'm guessing I had very low fuel pressure since it was just wide open. Messed with the ignition timing. The idle mixture screws.
Now, how many idle mixture screws are on this thing? Is it 6 for each carb, or is it?
I mean, it's 1 for each carb, so there's 12.
12 altogether.
12 mixture screws, yeah.
Yeah, wow. So that's quite a bit of setup there, but
Yeah. Check the spark plugs. Still have to adjust the airflow for each of the carburetors. But it's running so much better.
I can hear you revving it up. Definitely sounds like it's better. You guys probably remember we took it out for a drive, just wasn't running good at all. But these things take time. We've got to order parts. We've got to find things. We don't just have stuff in stock for this, especially a marine boat engine. So it's sat for a while, and when we get a chance to work on it, we do. But we're pretty much nearing completion. Great job, Keller. Appreciate everything. Keep working.
OJ.
All right, so we've got Max. Now he's working on this Stingray Corvette. Did a fair amount of service work on this thing. Sounds like you got it running pretty good. What do you think, Max? Is finishing up, or?
Oh yeah, just finishing up there, getting all the everything double checked there, making sure everything's tight, everything's sounding great there. Going to take it for a test drive and get her all set.
Well, looks good. Looks like it's running good. This car's been here for a little while. I know we were figuring out some headlight stuff at one point.
Oh yeah.
So that looks like it's working pretty good now. But I won't keep you. Jump on that ride. But appreciate you letting me know what's going on with it. Now here's the nightmare. BBR Miata intake conversion. We've got this thing in. The customer tried to install the kit himself. Now we've since gone through it 4 or 5 different ways, and basically the company has been not the easiest to work with. And you know, I'm not trying to put them on blast or anything, but I will say that it's been very frustrating, the stuff we've had to check and recheck and check again. And so far we basically ran in circles with how many times we've reinstalled and uninstalled this at the company's discretion, and they just keep referring back to, oh, well, there's nothing we could do. Basically, we're at the point where we have to go through and document each step of the installation procedure in order to show them that we did what they say, because they're basically not really working with us, getting back to us very slowly, and it's just very difficult in these situations because the only person hurting at this point is the customer, and we don't want to take them out on them, but at the same time, we need to figure out how to get this thing out of here and get it back to the customer. So the next step for us, because we've done this so many times, is that we have to go through, we have to check the vacuum readings on each of the runners. We have to show them where the timing's at, show them where the crank position's at, show them how the throttle's set up. I honestly believe that there's possibly something going on with the electronic throttle conversion. And if you take a look at that, I don't know if you can see it down here, but they basically have a throttle body that's just cut up. And I don't know if it was done by the factory, but they have a big chunk out of it. They paint it black, and they have this bar going there, and it's just screwed to the center of the valve for the electronic throttle body, the drive-by-wire one. And I'm almost wondering if there's something that isn't quite set up correctly. Maybe there's a little bit of dead zone in there, and that's what's causing the readings that they're seeing. I've mentioned this. I've asked them for, what do you see when you're diagnosing these things? what should the voltage sit at, you know, but I'm not getting straight answers, and it's just been a pain in the butt. But hopefully we'll have time to sit there, document everything, get it to the company, and then finish this thing up. Ferrari F430. Now, I won't pull this all out, but basically, as you guys may know, that the convertible tops can tend to be a little bit problematic. What we've got here is the convertible top getting stuck on actuation. We've had to order some of the actuator parts that open and close the top portion here. We've got it kind of in this service mode right now because this is where you need to have it in order to pull it up to get the top the rest of the way up and then to get it back down. So this is one that you definitely want to make sure you're taking your time with when you start it, because the propensity to have something happen and damage the car, you have to be super careful. So you want to make sure your brain's all in it before you go starting it. We're just not ready to get that one started yet. L405 Range Rover, and it's given me kind of a problem. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get the end of line mode fault cleared after we installed a valve block for the active suspension. And for whatever reason, my scan tools aren't loading up correctly. I'm back and forth. I'm really trying to get this done. This is one of the cars that I usually get called in on. Now, you guys might ask, what do I do on a daily basis here? Besides some shop-related stuff, I get called in for the heavier diagnostics, the stuff where the technicians kind of get stuck and they can't really move forward. So I'm not really doing brake jobs or ball joints or anything like that. What I'm doing is, if we've got a coating issue, if we got tracing, electrical issues, wiring, things like that, CAN bus diagnostics, functional, you know, drivability concerns, that's when I'm getting involved, and I'm usually working with one of the techs that you see me talking to. And speaking of that, all right, I've got a classic Mustang here, 289. My mechanic Mario here is working on it currently right now. Do you know what year this thing is, Mario?
It is a 1966 Ford
66
Mustang.
Ford Mustang, and it looks like you've got some suspension work you're doing on it.
Correct, yes. I am replacing the tie rods, the pitman arm, basically the whole steering suspension on this car. Bunch of them just old, the bushings are worn out, the boots are torn.
Yeah, a lot of things. Probably had some play in it, a little bit of loose steering complaints along those lines. We're taking care of that. We get to see a lot of classic muscle cars here, and this is just another one for this day. Mario's taking care of this stuff, and probably some other service-related issues as well, but I won't keep you too much longer. Thanks, Mario. Now check this out. This is what you need to do in order to get the engine out on a Ferrari California. This is the transmission as well as the final drive, all on this rear assembly. The subframe's gotta come down. Now these transmissions are kind of known to be problematic, but that's not why this one's down. This one is down because we need to get to the engine, and let me tell you why. We've got a cylinder that is leaking coolant into, I believe, cylinder number 7. So when we go to bleed this thing down overnight, we'll see wetness inside of there. What we think is going on is the car must have been overheated at some point. Customer overheated it, and he got this thing to the point where it's leaking coolant, causing issues, causing the car to overheat, smoking, and he brought it here for us to diagnose. We were hoping that there might be a way to get the cylinder head off in the car to take a look at it, but the engine's got to come out, meaning the rear has to come out, and that's just to get this thing down. So as you can see, this is almost a engine out complete service just to be able to see what's going on with this, hopefully head gasket. Hopefully it's not something like a, you know, cracked head, cracked cylinder block, but we do know we've got coolant going into this turbo engine. This is the turbo version, the California T, the later one. So you got the transaxle out, you're going after the engine. What do you still got to do to get this thing out?
So right now, all I'm doing is getting all the rest of the coolant hoses off the engine, making sure everything is all disconnected. Once I make sure everything is all disconnected, everything out of the way, I'll be able to ready to just go ahead and jack the engine up and put it on jack stands and go ahead and put it on down. Get it on out so we can go ahead and take out the timing cover at the back of the motor and be able to release the cylinder head off of the engine and see what's going on inside.
Well, you got your work cut out for you, so good luck, and we'll see this thing when you get it far further. C7 Corvette, in for a little bit of diagnostics, got a check engine light on, but as you could probably guess, this car is modified. Looks like we've got the MSD Atomic Air Force intake, which I've heard mixed results from. Some people love them. Seems like they have good dyno response. We haven't tested this car out in particular, but air intake, and I wonder if it's got anything else going on. Now, if I heard you right, Alec, you were saying that it had some lean faults going on?
Yep, so we've got a P0171 for bank 1 running lean, and then 174 for bank 2 running lean. So we're gonna smoke right here at the throttle body and see if we've got any leaks in this intake. That's kind of what I'm suspecting right now. And then if we don't find anything, then we'll have to dig deeper and look elsewhere. But
yeah, it's always a good place to start. Anytime we have lean faults, you always want to see, do we have any air leaks? Do we have anything going on? So just sealing it up, getting this thing smoke tested should point us in a direction if we've got something that is actually mechanical. Is it a leak? Is it sucking in more air than it's needed? Or do we have something that's sensor related, such as the mass air meter? Could be fuel. Usually you don't have both banks fault. I won't say always if it's oxygen sensors, but still could be. So we're just getting going on the diagnostics, but yeah, that sounds pretty interesting. Good luck checking it out.
thanks.
Gen 2 Viper, I'm not really gonna go into what we're doing in this because we're gonna have our own video, but Cody's messing around here with the collector. You guys will get to see more of this a little bit coming up in a few weeks here, but basically we just got some parts in and he's trying to make it work, trying to make it fit, and whether or not he gets that to happen will be the interesting part of the video, but we've always wanted to do a Gen 2 Viper. This should be pretty cool. I'm pretty excited to see how this comes out because most of these sound like trucks and that's just gross. Now you guys know our fab room. You're probably back here all the time. We've got a few things going on. McLaren GT exhaust we're trying to get out. We've got to change up a little bit of the positioning of these valves. They're not quite right. We made a miscalculation on it, so we're going to be flipping those around, getting these to face in an opposite direction, probably out this way or something along those lines. We're going to rotate those valves and this thing should be pretty much good to go. We're basically there. Here's another car. This thing's been a major pain in the butt for me. In fact, I featured it in a video over a year ago talking about the difficulty tuning. I went into briefly the backstory. Massive throttle body, decent sized turbo. I think this is the only throttle we could find to match up with this opening, so it's a little over throttled right now, but basically we are set up to work remotely with the tuner to try to get this thing dialed out very shortly here. However, we have already gotten linked up and he's logged in, but he sees a few sensors that he might want us to change how they're being interpreted, their positions, different things along that. So basically I got a little bit of a checklist I've got to run through, but then this thing's going to get on the dyno and we're going to see what this M52, and yes, this is an E46 with an M52 turbo. We're going to see what it can actually put down. So that should be pretty interesting, but a good feeling to get this car out of here. Now this differential here, axle assembly, is actually for this Silverado SS that's out here. Drove the car in, well, I shouldn't say drove it in, he towed it in because the rear end basically exploded. No point in trying to save it back there. We just got the whole assembly. So that's another car. We were waiting for that part to come in, but it's come in. So we should be getting to that one shortly. But again, just some of the random stuff. That Lambo's in here for a bunch of exhaust diagnostics, amongst other things, service work, other things. We're wrapping that one up shortly. And you might see some more stuff on that in the future here. But basically mechanical restoration on a Scout here. People love Scouts. I think they're pretty cool. This one needs a lot of work. I think the guy was basically trying to restore this thing himself, got in a little too deep, a few little issues, and asked for our professional help. But we're kind of nearing the point where he's spent probably about as much money as he wants to spend with the heavier lifting. And we're gonna get this thing finished up to a good point and try to get this back out of here. And then we've got this 996 Porsche that's been sitting for, I think the customer said 12 years that it wasn't running, and basically came in looking like this, all dusty and messed up, and hadn't started it, wouldn't start, tried jumping it, but we've got it running, we've got it here, we're going over it, and we're gonna see kind of what's wrong with it. And lastly, we work on RVs as well. You never know what you're gonna see inside this shop. Now that's essentially a Chevy 4600 van, meaning that it's got all the underpinnings of the Chevy van, except now it's got an RV fitted on top of it. What we're dealing with is it's got a valve block issue for the ABS system, and we're trying to diagnose it. Hopefully it's just one of the solenoids, but we're just getting into it. Looked at it here just a little while ago. So as you can see, we've got quite a bit of variety on any given day, and that means the problems are just as varied and challenging. Not only do we not know what's going to come in here, we don't know what those problems are going to end up being either. Now, a lot of people might think that that sounds a little bit crazy, that you don't know what you're getting into. For us, we're really passionate not only about working on these cars, but also figuring them out. I mean, for me, this is a dream job. I love the challenges that I get when I come in here every day, and being able to jump from one car to the other and really test your automotive ability and knowledge and problem solving in a professional environment that allows you to really dig in and try to find the root of the problem is really what I started and set out to build. This is really just the summation of all of that philosophy. Now that you've seen all that, I want to know what you guys think. What was your favorite project that we're currently working on, or what's something you wanted me to get further into that you might have seen sitting around in the shop? Throw your questions down in the comments below and let us know. Maybe we'll do a full feature video on it, but hopefully you guys got an idea of how the shop works at any given day. And I'd say today is kind of tame. It was a good day for variety here at the shop, so I wanted to show you guys what we're working on. Hopefully you loved it as much as I love working on this stuff. So until next time, stay loud, stay curious, and we'll see you around.